Imagine this. Beneath your ship slumbers a giant so vast you think you've landed on an island, until it begins to move. For centuries, tales have circulated of sea serpents, demon fish, and islands that vanished without a trace. Often dismissed as superstition or sailors' yarns, some of these sea monsters turned out to be real, and we have the evidence. Fossils, sightings, and scientific discoveries suggest that many myths were rooted in real animals, creatures larger, stranger, and sometimes even more terrifying than the legends themselves. Umibōzu, Japan's spirit from the deep. For generations, Japanese sailors have told chilling stories of the Umibōzu, a dark, colossal figure that rose from the sea to terrorize ships and their crews. According to legend, Umibōzu appeared mostly on stormy nights. Sailors described it as a shadowy being without a clear face, emerging suddenly from the water and capable of destroying ships with a single massive wave. It was believed to be the embodiment of drowned sailors' lost souls, filled with vengeance and sorrow. The truth behind this myth might lie in the Basilosaurus, a prehistoric whale-like creature that roamed the oceans millions of years ago. This giant, about 20 meters long, had a long, serpentine body resembling a sea serpent. A sudden appearance by such a creature must have been a terrifying sight enough to spark tales that evolved over generations into the legendary Umibōzu. Cthulhu. Deep sea monster. Cthulhu is often described as a colossal, tentacled being slumbering in the deep ocean, whose presence alone can disturb the human mind. Its massive size, wing-like appendages, and alien appearance make it one of the most terrifying sea monsters in maritime lore. Cthulhu embodies a primal force from the unknown, a sleeping threat buried in the depths. Interestingly, millions of years ago, a creature roamed the seas that closely resembles this horror. Tusoteuthis, a giant prehistoric squid that could grow over 10 meters long. Unlike modern squids, Tusoteuthis had an internal shell, making it faster and more rigid, perfect for precision attacks. Whether from sightings of unknown deep-sea creatures, lost fossils, or the ancient fear of the ocean's unknowns, stories like Cthulhu continue to captivate. Perhaps the dark depths of the ocean hide more than we ever imagined. Lusca, the octopus-shark of the Bahamas. In the waters surrounding the Bahamas, people have long told of the Lusca, a terrifying sea monster said to dwell in deep underwater caves, or blue holes. Eyewitnesses describe the Lusca as a hybrid between a shark and a giant squid, a creature with tentacles, a powerful jaw, and the speed of a predator. It's said to drag fishing boats beneath the waves before vanishing into the deep blue void. Though it sounds like legend, scientists have documented giant squids growing up to 13 meters long. These creatures live in the deep sea and are rarely seen, which only adds to the mystery. Combine this with the dangers of underwater currents and sudden pressure shifts in the blue holes, and it's easy to see how such stories took root. Lusca is a classic example of how a real sea creature and a dangerous environment can merge into a persistent legend. Many divers and locals still believe the Lusca waits in the depths. Aspidochelone, the island that breathes. Imagine this. A group of sailors spots a small island on the horizon, rows toward it, sets up camp, and lights a fire. Suddenly, the ground beneath them begins to move. The island is a living creature sinking back into the sea, dragging the sailors with it. This chilling tale is the story of the Aspidochelone, a legendary sea monster featured in sailors' lore and medieval manuscripts for centuries. The Aspidochelone was often described as a massive turtle or whale, so enormous it was mistaken for an island. It appears in texts like the Physiologus, a popular early Christian natural history book, where it symbolized deception and temptation. Some historians believe the tale may be based on real sightings of blue whales or giant sea turtles, seen from a distance or in bad weather, or perhaps on floating volcanic islands that appeared and disappeared. Whatever its origin, the image of a living island continues to capture imaginations and reminds us that the sea holds more than water, it holds secrets. Charybdis, the whirlpool monster. In Greek mythology, Charybdis was a fierce sea goddess who devoured ships by creating massive whirlpools. She lived opposite Scylla, and together they guarded a narrow strait that no one could pass unscathed. Sailors feared Charybdis not just for her power, but for her unpredictability and deadly wrath. With every breath, she was said to suck in massive amounts of seawater and spit it out, dragging everything nearby into the deep. While whirlpools are real, they're rarely as destructive as legend claims. Still, ancient sailors may have encountered strange and dangerous currents caused by underwater geology or sudden tides. One animal that might have added to Charybdis's image is the helicoprion, a prehistoric shark with a bizarre, circular saw-like lower jaw. This shark looked like it came from a nightmare and lived in deep waters. Though helicoprion didn't create whirlpools, its terrifying appearance and mysterious habitat likely fed centuries of sea lore. Perhaps Charybdis wasn't a goddess, but a dark, ancient memory of the ocean's mysteries. Bakunawa, the dragonfish of the Philippines. In Filipino mythology, Bakunawa is a gigantic sea or dragonfish that devours the moon during eclipses. According to legend, this monster rose from the depths, bringing storms, chaos, and darkness. It was once a celestial dragon, but out of jealousy attacked the moon and was banished to the sea. Though symbolic, this story may have roots in sightings of a prehistoric sea predator, Dunkleosteus. This armored fish lived about 360 million years ago and could grow 8 to 10 meters long. Dunkleosteus had a thick skull and powerful bony jaws capable of slicing through large prey. Its appearance was anything but friendly, massive, ominous, and built to devour. Imagine fishermen finding fossils of this monstrous fish or sharing tales of an exceptionally large and aggressive sea creature. It's no stretch to see how these descriptions became the legend of Bakunawa. Though mythical, its origins may lie in a real prehistoric killing machine. Leviathan, the monster whale from the deep. The Leviathan, as described in the Bible and other ancient texts, was a massive, ferocious sea monster that could breathe fire and was unbeatable in battle. In some versions, it had armor-like scales and eyes that flashed lightning. For many sailors, the Leviathan symbolized nature's ultimate power and the terrifying depth of the sea. Though mythical, there was a real prehistoric creature that bears a striking resemblance. Leviathan Melville, a giant toothed whale that lived about 12 million years ago. One of the top predators of its time, it had jaws filled with teeth larger than those of a Tyrannosaurus rex, and likely hunted other large whales. At over 17 meters long with a fearsome bite, Leviathan must have been an awe-inspiring sight. It's easy to imagine early sailors or coastal peoples discovering its fossils and spinning tales that eventually became the Leviathan legend. Though it didn't breathe fire, this monster was terrifyingly silent and no less deadly. Augio, Japan's demon fish. In Japanese sea lore, Augio appears as a giant, fearsome fish larger than a whale, with flaming eyes, sharp teeth, and sometimes glittering scales. It was said to sink ships and stir up storms wherever it appeared. Augio was seen as a bad omen or even an evil sea spirit. These stories may have stemmed from encounters with sperm whales or other large marine mammals in rough seas. Augio continues to haunt the imagination as a supernatural symbol of the ocean's unpredictable power, and in a sea that remains largely unexplored, such stories continue to endure.